do it like this. They'll get the biting point, then they hit the gas and then think, oh yeah, it's time to come off. Get your biting point, and then once you have the biting point, and you know you've got the biting point because the car, I'm going to show you how to master hill starts in under 8 minutes. And last time I asked you guys what the speed limit is on this kind of road. Let me ask you guys a question. If this was a national speed section of the road, how fast are you allowed to go down here? And I said I'm going to select the winner. So this is the winner. I'm going to message you and I'm going to send you your prize. And to make this video fun as well, I'm going to ask you guys another question. How many times do I say the word hill on this video? This time I'm going to select 2 winners. So make sure you comment in the comments below. How many times do I say the word hill on this video? Let's go. So this road is very, very steep. If I put my handbrake down, straight away, the car rolls back. And that's how you know this is really steep. So the first thing you need to know when you're doing hill starts is that you're on the hill in the first place. Some people don't realize when they are on the hill or not. And one of the easiest ways to test it is, let's say you're in a traffic situation and you're not sure if you're on a hill or not. Come off the brake for a split second and then you're going to see the car move straight away. That's how you know you're on the hill. Once you know you're on the hill, the next step now is to actually do it properly. Let me first show you how to do it with the handbrake technique, and then I'll show you as well how to do it without using the handbrake, with just the brake and the clutch. So with the handbrake, you want to make sure that's on properly. So right now I've used 2 clicks. And this hill is so steep that even with 2 clicks, the car's still going to roll backwards. So if that's the case, I want to add more clicks, maybe 2 more clicks, and now the car's not going to roll back anymore because now the handbrake is holding it. The higher you bring the handbrake up, the stronger it holds the car. Now, even with the handbrake technique, people can still get this wrong. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is when they use the handbrake, they try to release the handbrake way too early before bringing the clutch to the biting point. To avoid your car rolling back like that, you want to make sure you got the biting point first before you do anything else. Get your biting point, and then once you have the biting point, and you know you've got the biting point because the car is going to try to move and you can feel it trying to move. The front of the car raises and the back of the car dips down a bit. That's how you know the car is trying to move and you're at the biting point. And then once you're there, when you're ready to move now, release the handbrake, but then don't make the mistake of bringing the clutch up too fast because you're going to end up stalling again. Instead, once you have the biting point, hold the clutch at the biting point and then release the handbrake and still bring up the clutch really slowly while adding gas in the background. That way the car is not going to roll back. Another mistake people make is, even though they've got the biting point, when it's time to release the handbrake now, they will dip the clutch down a little bit like this and then try to bring the clutch up. You're going to roll back this way because you've lost the biting point. Don't lose the biting point. So once you have it like there, don't dip the clutch down, keep it still and then raise it slowly, because dipping it down like that is going to make the car roll back because you now don't have any power to push the car forward. So the key there is to make sure you've got the biting point first and then release it slowly once you start moving while adding some gas in the background. And with the handbrake, make sure you fully release it, because if you don't release it all the way, let's say I'm trying to move now and I bring it down a little bit like that, it's still holding it. The handbrake is still holding the car, so the clutch is going to struggle a lot and then you're more likely to stall that way because it's too much work for the car. So make sure that you release it all the way down until that red light comes off, and then that way the car's not struggling and it's not fighting against the handbrake. If you're doing a hill start on a junction like this, so let me turn left here. It's a very steep junction, a very steep hill. So when I stop, make sure I put my handbrake on properly and then get my biting point again. I'll wait for this car to go past first, otherwise I'm going to be at the biting point for too long. The biting point, add some gas in the background and then release the handbrake and then slowly releasing the clutch as I go up the hill. And with this hill starts, always do it in first gear. Second gear is not going to work, or it's going to be a very big struggle. When you're waiting at a junction like this, don't stay at the biting point like this for too long, especially with the gas on. You're going to burn the clutch like this. Instead, wait until you got a nice decent gap and then get the biting point and add some gas and move. So like right now, there's lots of cars going by. There's no space for me to turn here, so there's no point in having the biting point on right now for too long. Then I'll damage my clutch. I'll keep looking for a safe gap. My clutch is down right now. There's no biting point. My handbrake is holding the car, so that way I can use my foot for the gas. And then once I can see a gap coming, I'll start preparing. So let this guy go past. I can see there's a gap after this car, so I add some gas, get the biting point, and then release the handbrake while gently holding the clutch and bringing it up smoothly. Yeah, so you notice that it took a long time to come off the clutch. Lots of learners rush to come off the clutch, and that's how they end up stalling or going too fast into the turn. Using the foot brake is a lot more efficient, but it's a lot trickier and easier to stall the car if you don't do it properly. So right now I'm on a hill. And if I don't want to use the handbrake, I just want to use my foot brake. Again, the mistake that people make here is they'll release the foot brake too early. So if I release the handbrake before I get my biting point, this is what happens. You see, even if I try to catch the clutch, I would already roll back a bit by then. So to avoid that, get the biting point before releasing the foot brake. Now with the handbrake, it's much easier to see when you've got the biting point because the car raises forward, raises up the front, and then the back dips when you got the handbrake on. With the foot brake, you're not going to see that. The car doesn't move. But what you will feel is the car vibrating. You can hear the engine noise change as well. And that's how you know you've got the biting point. Once you can feel the car vibrating a bit, not too much. If it's too much vibration, the car's going to stall. You want just enough vibration for you to feel the car trying to move. And then that's how you know you've got the biting point. And then you can release the brake and go to the gas and move off smoothly still. The mistake that lots of my learners make is once they go to the gas, they come off the clutch. So they'll do it like this. They'll get the biting point, then they hit the gas and they think, oh yeah, it's time to come off the clutch now. And then they end up stalling. Instead of doing it like that, while the gas is on, still keep your foot at the biting point, like this. So I've got my biting point, and then add some gas. I'm still keeping my foot still, and then raising it slowly while the gas is still on. That way, it's nice and smooth and you're not gonna stall. When I showed you earlier with the handbrake, I had to stop first, put the handbrake on, and then do the hill start. But with the foot brake technique, let's say I stop here, I can just get my biting point quickly and then add gas and still bring it up smoothly. That way, I'm not wasting time, it's really quick and it's a lot smoother. Sometimes if the junction is clear, you don't even have to use the foot brake or the handbrake. You can just pause for a second and then keep moving. You have to catch the biting point in the right place. So like now, catch the biting point, add some gas, and then make my turn. That way, I don't have to use the handbrake or the foot brake. But if you don't do it correctly, you can easily stall that way. So if you're quite new and you get to a hill, it's much better sometimes just to stop for a second and then move off in a nice controlled way. So make sure you're joining our community where you can get personalized videos, early access to videos, and other perks. The link is right here underneath this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. The RPM's jumping up and down, bring the clutch up and then back on the gas with the brake still on, and you can feel lots of vibrations making lots of noise. I'm going to show you how to avoid burning your clutch. I'm also going to show you some of the things that you think are burning your clutch but are not. Let's get into it. Now I should be letting go, but what you see is they will try to move with the brake still on, and you can feel lots of vibrations making lots of noise. It's okay for a short time. Let's say you're moving and then the traffic stops for a second and then you get the biting point and then you move on again. That's not going to do much damage. But what you see some people do is they'll keep the gas on and then change gear, and then the RPMs are too high as well when you lift the clutch up, and that's going to cause a lot of damage to your clutch.